Brainiac. Yeah, man. Get it going here. Oh, yeah. Yo. I hope you guys are doing well. No doubt about it. I almost said Monday. It is not Monday. It is Wednesday. And tonight I'm going to be joined with Mr. NASAnon. NASAnon. He got something else really on the other side once we get him there. I'm going to be able to share with you that it is going to be off the chain. You're not going to want to go anywhere. Yeah, you guys remember him? You can't hear him yet. He's talking in my ear right now. Yeah, it's funny because I'm sharing shit and he's like got reverb back in his ear. Nevertheless, don't go nowhere, Brainiac. Share this broadcast, share this podcast, because we cannot do it. All right? Thank you guys. We'll see you on the other side. Peace. Let's go.
What do you say, Brainiacs? You guys ready? It's time. It's showtime, brains. That's right. It's Matrix time. And it's go time. Welcome aboard, everybody. Let's go. Talk about ufology, conspiracy, controversy, and anything and everything that we can get into tonight. Let's go.
Mr. Andy Cash says, let's crank that bitch up. No doubt about it. Blow the speakers right on the radio. Yeah, baby. Yeah. It's definitely your show. Your show, and we appreciate you for being here. Buckle up, everybody. Welcome aboard. Chabrains. Welcome aboard. Oh my God. Oh, what's up, everybody? Let's go run over to the Brainiac chat. See what's going on. Oh my God. I've got him unmuted so you can hear him blabbing in your ear. He's like all getting confused and shit. Oh my God. I'm joined with NASAnon. He can't see you, or they can't see you. I can see you. He's waving.
Oh, okay. They can just hear me.
They can just hear you. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, hey, everybody. It's NASAnon, better known as Taiji.
I think that, let's see. Should I tell them now? Should we tell them now, or should I tell them later? After the show.
About what?
About you. See, here's the kicker. These guys know I've been running naked barefoot here by myself for quite some time. I've never really had a co-host. I don't feel I need one. I've been looking for one, looking for a really good fit, but I've known you now for some time, and I do believe that you are a really good fit. So that's why I asked you to join me on Wednesday night.
So it's a good experiment for me too.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I'll help you as best I can. I truly can and will. I think that you are going to bring a lot of knowledge to the broadcast. I think that you're going to be, Yeah, I think you'll be loved and hated all at the same time. Welcome to my world.
Boy,
Just
in
what?
that order too. Everybody loves me until they hate me, and that's the way it goes.
Oh my God! Tonight we're gonna. I wanted to dive deep with you into it like in the broadcast title. I put in there the nature of reality. If the nature of reality is known by our powers that be, right? I'm talking like the the handlers of the puppets that we see in this shit show, right? If they know the nature of reality, the actual fabric of my matrix and yours, what the hell, dude? Is that even fucking probable possible?
You can understand the nature of something and still have absolutely no power over it. Best example, women.
Oh God.
I mean, in a nutshell.
Right.
That's the way it is. So just because they understand the nature of it doesn't mean they know how to, interfere with it all the time.
Right. True.
But the way that the people who are presently running the show got their power is through infiltration, assimilation, and basically chameleon-style empaths. They blend in or they create a crisis, and then they come in and they fix the crisis that they created. Create the crisis to sell the cure. It's the art of the Ponzi. Mm-hmm. But we can't give them credit for actually understanding the nature of reality, because in the grand scheme of things, they're no less of chimeras than you or I. I just had the misfortune of working directly with these people and seeing them up close and coming to understand from a firsthand basis how little they respect life and human beings that they deem less than themselves. They're very psychotic about it.
Well, we see this is the thing. We definitely see the repercussion. We see it because they cackling Kamala crack-headed. You know who I'm talking about already. She makes this glorious statement that of what you just pointed out. Okay, they think they're above us. I mean, dude. She makes a big to do whenever she or the administration is supposedly saving us 17 cents on a fucking barbecue. 17 cents on a barbecue for the 4th of July in 2022. I remember that. She said that. We saved you 17 cents. You guys should be happy about that.
Yeah, they like to throw it in their faces. The revelation of the method. They're religious zealots in terms of their belief on their God, and the only problem is what they deify as a God is actually real. And that's where we get into the problem is their God grants them extra power because it is a real deity to them, and in service to it, they have to follow certain rules. It's their only weakness. The revelation of the method, that's why books like the Kabbalah and the Talmud haven't been privatized. Because in those books, just those two, you can find some crazy, crazy shit. And a lot of it is sacrificing to Moloch, Remphan, and opening the gates to Yaldabaoth. I believe it's the Talmud that says there's 3 entrances to hell, and one of them is in Jerusalem.
But one of them is in D.C. too.
Exactly. One of them's in D.C. Actually, I think the 3 entrances to hell are the Carpathian Caves, where the Ashkenazi came out, as recorded by the Hattusha at the Hattusha home site, the Grand Canyon where the Hopi emerged, and the tunneling systems under Jerusalem. I think those are the 3 entrances to hell. Unagoni actually might be one, or Yonaguni. The Yonaguni monument has a lot of stuff around it that looks like it leads into secret underground caves, like the ancient stuff. And Yonaguni itself is impossible because it has 9-foot steps. So that means automatically that whatever was working there and gathering at that gathering place, as it was known, had a step that was bigger than 9 feet.
Right?
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Them steps are fucking huge, bro. Them steps.
Yeah, you go to Machu
that,
Picchu. Yeah,
that is a giant stride
yeah,
to walk up the stepping system like that. You'd have to have an enormous stride.
yeah. I mean, and they're not even the biggest steps around the world. You know, there's a giant wall in the Pacific Ocean that goes right up to Antarctica and under it. And it's about, I think it's 1,000 kilometers tall. It's just ridiculous. It's all still underwater. But I mean, if you zoom in real close at this wall, you can see carts and giant doors and giant gates and old levers and pulleys. I mean, there's definitely something more going on this planet than even our quote unquote masters are willing to tell us. You know,
Do you see this?
they destroyed our Captain James Cook statue, cut off the ankles. It's Australia Day tomorrow.
What the hell is that about?
So I think Australia is in the full wake of giving into the WEF. They've got the COVID camps in full swing. They never shut them down. From the people I'm talking to in Australia, they have about a 98% vaccination rate. So there's no getting away from the spikes.
Wow.
Yeah, so imagine the problems in America that we're seeing on groups like Died Suddenly on Facebook, Join Up, where people are coming, even those who have taken this, they are coming forward and admitting their mistake. But that doesn't really negate the damage of being a living bioweapon, does it?
No shit.
So, the question that I stunted you with before that keeps haunting me is, what if the spikes don't stop growing after death? And that's really where our humanity should be focused on right now, because we need to find a cure in our direct environments. These things spread on contact. Physical fucking contact. You touch the same rail of someone, you've got an infection. This is not cool.
Is this because it is nanotech? Because I didn't even discuss that with you in public. People seem to think that, well, okay, put it this way. Let's just get this on the table first, okay? Anything in nature that I was to work with, or even you were to work with, anything in nature cannot be patented. Okay? Cannot patent nature.
Yeah.
So you got to remember, we've got a jab, a stab and jab, okay, to the Rona, I don't even know how to say this in code word, but it's patented. That means that it's not nature. It's not of nature.
Here's the thing. Okay, there are particles in nature, which means there is nanotech in nature. Boron existed in our soil until the Dust Bowl knocked it out as a natural protectant against nanotech. And then after that happened, all of a sudden, infections and parasitosis started skyrocketing in America because the boron that was protecting the plants from getting infestations and parasites no longer existed as a barrier. That's why if you soak your produce in boron, you will see all kinds of nasty stuff come out. Because those are the nanobites and the nanobots that get into our food now. Now, let's remember that one quote by Epstein where he was talking about using nanotech to sow his DNA into all the people and women in the world by raining it down on them. Okay? Now, if you look up different kinds of nanotech, like the stuff that Spain made, the E. coli Spanish nanotech, that stuff looks impossible, like something out of sci-fi. It looks like a Terminator got it on with the Legion of Doom headquarters. And that was what was made, was the E. coli nanotech from Spain. But back from that tangent, the Epstein nanotech, Epstein money and Gates money was used for the Harvard Global Sun Dimming Project. And if you look at it, Epstein also met with David Keith several times. David Keith is the master geoengineer who ran HARP and ran the Harvard Global Sun Dimming Project from 2019 and arguably still runs it to this day.
Right.
Now, what people have to realize is the sun has been dimmed successfully 3 times in the last 5 years. Okay, the first time was the openly admitted Harvard Global Sun Dimming Project. Okay, the second project was supposed to go off in Sweden with Gates, but Sweden said, fuck that, and canceled it. And then Gates, all of a sudden, didn't have anywhere to take his giant balloons full of carbon haze. And so all of a sudden, we had Chinese spy balloons flying over America that just happened to be the exact same diagram and design as Bill Gates's solar dimming carbon release system.
What?
And they did that 3 times.
What you just said. Now, this is just to clarify something for everybody. Let's just say for instance, right? We've got an unknown municipal airport left plane that flew from the West Coast. Let's just say Seattle. Okay, an unknown, unmanned, or unknown. It can be unmanned. Okay, possibly. Got a fucking plane that leaves Seattle, Washington. This plane, okay, made it past it. We know every bit of 6 military bases, and it made its fucking way halfway in the middle of Georgia before anything was said or even done about it. That will never fucking happen. So,
well, I lived in Venice, Florida, the day of 9/11, and all flights were grounded. And all of a sudden, we had all these airplanes flying in within 4 hours of the event. They knew exactly where to find those guys.
Damn
because
straight.
they fucking planted them there, you know? And it all stood out to us because we were all living there, and there was not supposed to be a single thing in the fucking sky. Everyone was in a state of shock that day. I was in a state of empathic shock because I had woken up and I had heard all those screams echo in my fucking head. And then I come out, and this is actually what radicalized me. I come out, and I see dustification weapons being used on the Twin Towers on 9/11. I see steel beams melting in midair. I see that shit. And I put it on slow-mo, and I watched it happen over and over again. And I was like, holy shit. I was responsible for this. If I had spoken up sooner, this could have been averted.
Vaporized. Them buildings didn't just collapse, bro. They fucking...
It was dustified.
Yeah, it was dustified. It was literally turned to dust.
That is the term they used at NASA on the proposals I looked at. Dustification. Destabilization, reverse ionization, and dustification. And so when I saw it for the first time actually at work and weaponized, I knew exactly what it was. And I knew exactly where it came from.
Holy shit.
At that point, I was responsible. Even 0.0000001% responsible for that. But I was partially responsible for that because all I would have had to do was take all those documents in my hand and mail them to every fucking news agency, and somebody would have bit. You know, that would have been the biggest story of 1999.
Or would they have? Dude, we know
that's a good question, but at the same time, if you send it to everybody and they all know everybody has it, then they're all going to publish. That's the way it's going to go. Because if they don't and the small rags do, there's nothing they can do.
Oh boy, dude.
Like the Pentagon Papers, they had to do it because of the public pressure. They've got to do a lot now because of public pressure.
Oh man, you know what? We've got some really good friends that are taking a radiation blast over the direct energy weapons targeted individual. Boy, I feel for them. I got it, dude. I usually get it between the eyes right here. They love to hit me in the third eye. So I got burnt this morning right here, and the tops of my cheeks are really, really fucking sunburned, bro. Just telling you. So I mean,
I usually get it in my right ear, and then it goes through to my left brain, and then I kind of let it settle into the middle, and then my multidimensional brain, when that activates, it brings it to the surface, and then I can process everything. But I find if I try to process what those, like even now it's happening, like my pineal's not throbbing yet, but I can hear that high-pitched hum, which I've been hearing since I was 1991, so I was about 12. It was really painful at first because I didn't know, I have thicker cells because of my rare blood type.
Right.
And so that makes everything so much more intense. That's why I've always been like, I say retard strong. It's like, if I don't control my strength, I'm a natural bull in a china shop. People bump into me and they fall backwards. That's just the way it is. It's like I have my gravity at this point. But, not to be a bragger. Okay, so I saw somebody asking about sun simulators in the chat. Let me answer that question. My cousin, Sharon Richardson Purser, designed sun simulators at Goddard Space Flight Center till about 5 years ago when she retired. When I was 14, I went on a tour with her at Goddard, and she showed me one that was the size of a box fan, basically, one that was the size of a table desk. The third one she told me was the size of an aircraft hangar bay, and she couldn't show it to me because they'd have to open the entire aircraft hangar. Now, from a personal perspective, I'm here in Epstein Coast, Florida, in Space Coast, Florida, and I have been watching them send up various SpaceXs. I've watched them blow up a few. I saw the all-day blue haze from the one that they blew up over Miami Harbor. And one day in March of 2022, I'm telling you for certain, I watched them put up a sun simulator because it was the brightest SpaceX I've seen, and it was one of the few that didn't explode.
I'm processing what you just said. We've got a fake sun the size of an aircraft hangar.
So the Chinese showed their sun simulator in public. It is, I think, a 3 trillion watt. A sun simulator is an assortment of giant crystals that are used as a direct energy weapon array. But if you control the harmonic beam and focus, you can actually produce real vitamin D. I mean, think of like, a vitamin D light, but in 360 degrees all the time and powered like a giant laser, like a reverse ionization laser. So using this, you could actually change the spectral frequencies on the planet.
There's
could use direct focus fire people. It's kind of one of those things.
They're always
don't do it for single purpose,
bro. There's always some way to stick it to us. They've created something. This is the pitch. We could be running off of atomic energy. But they fucked that one up. They made the atomic bomb. So we could be like really, really living off of free energy come this this fake sun and the humanity pumped full of vitamin D. But I guarantee you they're going to use it against us.
No, absolutely.
Absolutely.
They could tell the people about the Nemesis cataclysm. They could teach people about like what our planet really is, a hub of portals for multidimensional and alien creatures. But they won't. They'll publish it and they'll announce it all day, but they won't go out there and pursue this as an active thing. Like, hey, have you guys thought about the fact that you actually live on a planet where our Congress is having meetings about non-human intelligences? Now, this name was changed from intelligent dimensional entities because it was too damn scary. Now, if you want to see something really freaky, look up Thunder Energy Company's invisible entities. And they basically replicated Diaceinian glass by using a double concave lens and a satellite telescope. So the point was to find antimatter creatures and galaxies out in the planet that we can't see in our own matter spectrum. Right. That, everything else can't see. And let's remember, in the ancient tongues, vex meant to be cursed or blinded. So convex lenses actually blind you to what's there all the time. Now, Diaceinian glass works because it's a double concave lens in an insulated system based on the dye that's used, just like a telescope. So this satellite, he calibrated it by pointing it at our planet. And they came up with a giant shadow over the city of Miami. And then they discovered that this giant shadow was a 2-story tall creature. And so they decided, okay, this might be a fluke. Let's look for more. And in the process, they accidentally found 2 super secret military bases in the United States. On September 16th, 2016, Dr. Santilli went before Congress and announced that they had found these invisible intelligent entities. And 2 weeks later, bipartisan, under Trump, $50 billion per year Space Force was created. And now these people have meetings about non-human intelligences that are from different dimensions, and they won't answer whether they're actually a threat to us or not. So what do you think at that point?
Me and Larry Hawkins we talk a lot about, you know the term, if you think you understand quantum physics, you know shit about quantum physics. Right?
Metaphysics.
Right. So me and Larry, we try very hard to explain what we know about what we know. Okay? We know that there are shadow entities. We know that there is a black parasitic body. We know that our shadow has mass. We know that our you're just waiting to bite, ain't you? You're okay. So tell me about it. Oh, so what I'm saying is Larry and I chew this stuff and try to regurgitate it to a degree where people can remotely try to grasp it. Because Larry will throw something at me, and I'm like, and I'll fucking chew on it a little bit. I'm like, yeah, man. And then I throw something back at him, and he's like, he fires off, and he's like, we're both like just stumping one another. Because the nature of everything is almost as if, I want to say that it is equation. Everything in my fucking matrix is mathematics. Everything. Okay? So even taking it to a microbial, microscopic, not existence, doesn't exist, they're smashing particles trying to find something. What are they trying to find? They're trying to find the nothing and the something at the same time into that singularity.
So the whole particle smasher thing, what really threw me off, I became really interested in this as a kid because I've always had an ability to see things that aren't there. I could see invisible entities in the sky, like these things that they found in 2016. A lot of my life was just metaphysics experience, waiting for reality to catch up, or real science to catch up in the terms of metaphysics. Metaphysics is real science. I mean, let's acknowledge that. Quantum physics and metaphysics are sister sciences all the time. One becomes the other all the time. That's the nature of particle density. The fact that we are almost completely empty all the time, not just in personality, but like in a mass sense. The movie Prince of Darkness has a great quote in the very beginning. It's like, once you get down to the particle level, it's all ghosts and spirits in multiple dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've been thinking about this recently, and you kind of wanted to get to the core of this, but I was, visualizing it from like a creator's perspective. Like, if I was going to create a dimensional matrix, how would I create it so the dimensions don't collapse on each other, but so that they can interact? So if one dimension collapses, not all the souls or energies get lost. They can go to another dimension. And I was thinking, if you created one central dimensional point in a frame and then went outwards in a Fibonacci spiral, then not only would the dimensions be across from each other, you'd always have a dimension to either side of you, and you would have two dimensions in your direct view with other dimensions that you could get to from an angle.
Okay, right.
So no matter where you were in the Fibonacci spiral, you could always find yourself in another random dimension if your dimension was to collapse. And I do believe we have seen dimensional collapses in my lifetime. I remember watching a temporal wave go through everything when I was 7.
Right.
And it literally changed the surface. It was one of the most interesting things I've ever seen. And honestly, probably one of the only reasons I'm still alive is because these metaphysical things keep happening to me. And it's probably the most interesting thing, that I can't even make up. Yeah, I mean, just to the point of everything, that's why we have these talks, is because it's between all of us. I'm really into omnism, the belief that everyone has seen the same thing unfold, but they all had a different word and translation for it. And that goes back to what you were saying about shadow people and these greater entities. Now, we find it in our sci-fi. Robert Heinlein's The Puppet Masters. Things like The Outer Limits, Twilight Zone, things like that, where we find ourselves surrounded by these interesting but sometimes frightening creatures. And the ultimate hat man, I would say, the ultimate shadow guy would be Freddy fucking Krueger.
Oh, yeah.
He's been a hat man from day one.
The Dream Warrior, right.
The shadow person phenomenon.
I'm going to share...
but yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to share something with everybody. Because what you're talking about, I've got to go over here to... Let me go to this screen real quick.
Dude, look at the X-point electromagnetic anomaly spectrums. That's beautiful.
Oh, yeah, dude. Larry loves that kind of shit.
Yeah, I'm very into it. I've seen these creatures all my life, and they kind of they were part of the grooming. Like, when you're raised in a cult, you don't know you're in a cult until you get out of the cult, if you get out of the cult.
Okay.
That's the whole point. And you're not only raised and groomed by the people in the cult, but you're raised by the entities that they've made contracts with.
Oh, that's comforting shit right there, bro. That's really fucking great. So thank you for sharing that. All right, so check this out. This doesn't really need any sound, but I want you to see. This is supposedly a tunnel in Colombia, okay, where with what Anand's talking about, a ripple in reality, the effect, blah 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 blah.
Ripple inside.
This is
ripple.
All right, check this out, because this is what he's talking about. And this has been caught this video right here. Check this out. Watch this screen. Do you see that?
Yeah.
That's okay. Literally reality distortion. This is what this is.
Temporal waves.
Temporal waves. That's the only.
Or they're just like, I don't see any water. I mean, you could simulate this with water, but I don't see any.
Right there
It
on
looks like
the
ice.
right here. You'll see this, man. It shakes the thing. Right, watch right there, and you see it.
I'm seeing it.
Let me get this up a little bit. Right there. Okay, here the same camera, but watch back in the back. Do you see it?
Yeah. How is this happening?
I don't know. I truly don't know.
I mean, it almost looks like a professional stunt, like Hollywood shit, but
it does, but it does, but it's not. I have watched this video time and time again, and tried to find a pixelation right there, like in that.
You see the way it fills up the empty spaces too. Like that's what's really odd. Like I would say this is CGI, but it looks real.
I'm gonna bring this to where you can really see this.
Because you can see the bubble of force.
Right there. Did you see that shit?
Yeah, no, I can absolutely see the bubble of force there, and it remains.
Watch. Look at that shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with it.
All right, so
That's pretty cool.
It is, isn't it? This video, I can't believe that it's still online. I mean,
they've been so busy removing other things that they haven't had time to get everything. They've got a lot of censoring to do these days, buddy.
You bet your ass.
Every single fucking day they got to cover up stories. I just wonder when they're going to get tired. You know? When they're going to exhaust themselves and finally realize they're soulless, like empty beings just feeding a machine that can't be freaking satiated.
Good question, bro. Very good. It's a very good question.
I mean, I had to do that, so why don't they? Who the fuck do they think they are? Like, it's not fair.
I know. Here's what I'm going to do. Before I share this video in the chat up here, I'm going to share it with everybody. But before I do, I'm going to actually download this bitch because I don't want it. I don't want it going.
Okay, can I answer this question? How are falling angels getting here through portals? Okay, so what's known as a fallen angel, in my view, through my research, you know, I've compared Sitchin, Tellinger, and some of Ike's work, Stephen Greer, and my own personal experience with not only shadow possession, Wendigo of all different shapes and forms, but my ability to see archons from a very early age, these sky jellyfish that are suddenly popular again. Those are what some people perceive as dragons, other people perceive as angels. You wouldn't know a fallen angel if you saw one because they still glow, bro. You know, if an actual dimensional entity appeared from you, distorting reality around it because it's made of antimatter, you would only see the glow it emits, like looking into a black hole, and you would think it was something holy, whether it is or not. How do you think the people that believe in something like Moloch see their God when it manifests? They see it as a glowing, holy fucking being, and they light that motherfucker up. So, you know, I want you to think about it from that perspective because I have perceived and I have seen things that other people might perceive as angels, big wings, large talons, big knee talons, looking more like Hawkman than an actual angel. And when it saw me see it, the psychic impression I got that it was repulsed that I could even perceive its existence. And then it opened a freaking quantum leap style portal and disappeared right in front of me. And for a long time, I wondered if that even happened to me until I started encountering other creatures just like it. But yeah, it doesn't matter because they're opposite energies to us. Like there is a symbiosis that can happen with matter and antimatter. It's called star in a jar or sonoluminescence. It just requires the right gases, the right pressures, and a volume of water. And you can create a miniature black hole, but it looks like a star. But it's not a star. It's a black hole. There's a difference. All right, so I'm done.
So Larry drops in the chat that dark matter is the first being drawn through a portal, quote opening agendas. Him and I've talked about this a lot, and again, this goes right back to, he says, did you see how he wrote that? Dark matter is the first being. See,
Going through portal opening agendas. Oh, absolutely.
People don't realize though that, again, your shadow is a being. Your shadow is.
Well, there's a being inside of your shadow is more like it. Like there are some people that don't necessarily have a being inside of them, but most people are so possessed at this point because it goes around in families. It's like a genetic disease.
Right.
That once the Wetiko takes hold, and I've seen this in my own family, once those people who've been possessed early on and done horrible things to the people they love, once they get older and the Wetiko has, driven them mad and taken most of their power, they end up committing suicide for the most part. And I'm speaking from personal experience in my own family, based on the guilt they've manifested. But then that being tries to use the genetic and empathic connection between that loved one and their family member to hijack it onto any of those other family members. So it's actually it's a being that uses the love and empathic connections you have to the people you love against families. That's how intelligent these things are. Now, I don't think Archons are being teleported here, but I do know for a fact that CERN's mission statement in 2019 was to punch through to the dark dimension and commune with whatever lives there. And that seems to correlate with the whole, 7 keys to 7 gates to bring through the 7 lords of chaos, also known as Yaldabaoth and the greater elder gods. You know, the shit that Lovecraft wrote about, because he channeled that after he was working with Tesla and he saw what Wilhelm Reich saw, which was floating sky jellyfish in 1905. So they've been suppressing this information for a long fucking time.
Sure.
But these things have been around us this whole time. Now, the creature over Miami, they've observed it for 6 years now. 7 years, actually. And it swung its tentacles twice through the city. Other than that, it hasn't moved. So think of that kind of being, okay? And how it operates. And how much energy it must need and how much energy it must be gathering in those 2 swings of those 2 tentacles.
That's funny. Because the moment he said what he said,
I just disconnected myself.
Sorry. I noticed one thing. Now I'm not going to share this with them, but I can share this. Look at the very top of your screen in the studio. Do you see the number of participants?
No. How many people do we have?
Right now in the studio itself. Look at where you're at. The screen. The talk show screen. Look at the number right above your head. It says 3.
There's only 3 people?
That's me, you, and whoever the fuck you brought in to the studio. So you come in with someone on the back of your IP address.
Oh, that's weird.
That's not weird. That's someone watching you.
Oh, okay. Well, that's pretty normal. I mean...
Hi. Hi. I'm just telling you what I see. I can literally see it. All right. What the hell was it Larry just said? I'm trying to go back there. What the hell was it? Hang on. That's an entirely separate link to oil being blah, blah, blah. Okay. No, you guys are talking about the chat.
No, that's correct. The tardigrade bears, that's the one I keep forgetting about because that's the scariest one. If you look up the tardigrade humans, they look like worm humans. They're super fucking scary. They look exactly like the glowworms from 1980s. You remember those toys? They were kind of creepy and they lit up. But these things have 7 tentacles on them. And they're all real short when they're babies. But I haven't seen a grown-up one yet. And that shit's super scary because tardigrades are super durable.
Oh,
Make a tardigrade human, you've made basically a Slogoth from Lovecraftian horror.
This shit's see, it's just crazy, dude. That is absolutely crazy. You can damn near nuke a fucking planet, but a tardy bear would be alive. Somehow, some way, the sumbitch would still exist.
Well, the joke I keep telling, man, is do you think our masters are making orcs to not supplant us and take over humanity? You think our dark lords really don't have that plan? Because they made them. they've got them. You know, they're breeding them. At least they're trying to. So they've successfully made pig humans. That's orcs. You know, if Tolkien might have been a visionary, then we should really think about our position in history right now. Because if billions of dollars of our dollars are being used to make bear humans, monkey humans, water bear humans, then maybe we should just have a vote of no confidence with, you know, the sound of handguns and end it all. Because these people do not have our best interest in mind. The fact is that they need human parts to do these experiments. That means we're cattle. Okay, that is not a good position to be in at any given time. You know, that is not fair to any human that goes through that process.
No shit. Completely agree with you. Look at this. I love the way he says human genetics. That's what That's what we're talking about. Genetics spliced with the tardigrade. He says at a cellular immortality platform. It pretty much. No, can you imagine? Could you imagine making or creating a chimera, right, that is transhuman? Now get this shit. This is how far we can go. A transhumanistic tardy bear, okay, mixed with human DNA.
With nano mRNA spikes implanted to self-create any kind of Morgellon structure the creature wants to create.
You had to go there. You had to go there.
If I don't say it, who's going to? Okay, so there's a really good video, humanism versus transhumanism. And the chick on that looks like she's about 120 years old and looks like she actively drinks blood to stay alive. But if you listen to her talk and the way they talk about humans, now keep in mind, she is the wife of the CEO of Alcor Life Extension Systems, ALCOR, which is in Scottsdale, Arizona on the human trafficking highway, aka 270. Okay. Now these people have cryotubes for any rich elite that dies in America to put them on ice and then to try to bring them back later. But they need stem cells. They require stem cells for these experiments, and they need other human parts, especially lots of human blood for the vitrification process, because they have to drain all the blood out of people so it doesn't freeze inside of them and freeze inside their organs. Then they have to pump them back up with blood when they defrost them later on. So that's what it requires. So where do you think it's coming from?
I get it. And I say this. Here's my biggest bitch is we only have so many beef industries, fishing. Think about it. Beef, fish, right? Poultry, chicken, etc. to feed 9 billion people on this planet. We don't have enough. We're obviously feeding them something. What are we feeding them? My mind goes to where we are at in this matrices of things, and how evil this fucking place truly is. I believe that they're feeding us our own selves, to be honest with you.
Well, that's true. I mean, you look at companies like McDonald's or Bumblebee Tuna. It's been well documented in the past that when human beings fall in the grinders, they can't get them out. So they have served human beings human food. There are now companies that replicate human meat, and they're out there. There has been cannibal clubs for years out in the open. So how long do you think they were in the quiets?
See that?
You know, it all goes back to the basically beginning of the modern age in the 1500s when the printing press became possible, and they manufactured the Judeo-Christian religion in the form of the Bible, which was a manufacturing of the Council of Nicaea. Then they started hunting down people like you and me and giving us genetic memories that still haunt us at night, and doing all kinds of bad things to us to extract our power and use it for themselves and their own evil lens. And so, yeah, now my forehead's buzzing. But no, I'm sick of the cycle. I'm sick of the sacrifice, especially what's going on right now. Now, understand in the prophecy of the end of the age of Aries, or the age of the ram, which is the age of human sacrifice, there is a grand sacrifice. So if you guys feel strained and hyper stressed right now, just realize that's the retraction of massive amounts of human souls that are being killed constantly all over the planet. Those screams you hear in your head at night, it's you being forced to awaken even further. because those energies have nowhere to go, and human energies are going to retract to the nearest human energies they can.
Damn.
I've experienced this real time. So, what you guys are going through is a minor fraction of what I've gone through in my life, because I've somehow developed a super turbocharged version of this. And it's not something anybody wants to feel. It's another reason I want the cycle of pain to stop. Because for every, I'm sure there's a lot of people like me out there that are driven completely mad by the fact that they feel all the pain of the people that are around them, and they hear all the thoughts they don't want to hear. So guard your thoughts, guys. Make sure they are your own. Don't just, leave your shit on blast all the time.
Oh yes. See, I'm almost tongue-tied here, because again, knowing that my enemy, knowing that our enemy absolutely knows how to manipulate, control, make domicile, eliminate, eradicate, dustification. Fucking dude, knowing that our enemy has got that stronghold over humanity really, really, really upsets me.
Well, a lot of people are hoping, I'm not one of them, but a lot of people are hoping vainly that the military is going to turn around and suddenly not be inside of a living pentagram, and it's going to suddenly be on the side of the humans. But that's just where people are. I can't blame anyone for falling for monkey mind control. That's why they developed it. It's as, debilitating as a lot of these chemicals are for the Rh negatives in the group. They disrupt us. They cause us massive confusion away from our true calling, which is prophecy, to spread what we can of ourselves around like a living intelligent disease, to counter the necrotic intelligent disease that is reigning humanity in human form right now, walking around in skin suits that used to be humans, fully possessed, fully taken over, fully assimilated, dangerous beings. But you have to realize and understand that your enemy has no power over you if you do not give it to them. If you stand up like all these people are in DC right now and say no more, I will take no more of this type of pain. It does not belong to me. It never did. And I'm going to send it back to whence it came. Then you will have power over that intention, however you express that intention. Now, one of the most important things people can be doing right now is practicing with, how they awaken. If you can actually turn on your multidimensional brain on your own, you're good. But it's really easy to do if you can't. It's just start talking about weird, spooky shit. That's it. Horror movies help a lot because there's always weird, spooky shit that's close to life inside of every good horror movie. That's why it's a good horror movie.
Did you see this?
Yep. What's that? Empath. So yep.
No. Right here. And why is there such a thing as a political amnesty from the prosecution for crimes against humanity and the missing children and the POWs and the unsolved crimes and the missing fucking people? Why do they get political amnesty? Why?
Why do people make rules? So they don't have to personally follow them. So they can make other people follow them and think because you're making other people follow those rules that you follow those rules yourselves until they're completely exposed. Why has it taken so long for people to realize that what people call Israel is actually comprised of the war criminals from World War II? No. Why has it taken so fucking long to recognize that the Khazarians in the mix were chopping off heads in forests 50 years ago? Because that shit went down. Why is it so hard to acknowledge that our own government ran MK Ultra on all of us?
True.
Why haven't those suits been settled? They're still in court. These people who have been mind controlled are still having to argue in court as if they're not traumatized enough. Everyone knows what happened. It's not a secret.
Mm-hmm.
So why are these people being further traumatized? It's because it's a system of pain. That's why all these cities are designed in Masonic rooms. It's so they can absorb all the pain and all the misery of the people for these masters that they serve. And most of them, they're not even human anymore. They're completely taken over by the entity. That's why they're completely slaved to their addictions and their drives, because they can't sleep at night. not with the lack of conscience that they have. If they leave their body at any time, then there's a good chance that demon will take over forever. And somewhere in their deep instincts, they know this.
Well, yeah, they helped conjure this shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
They made the contract.
No one was awake, so that they were sneaking.
I do have a solution though, like one solution for anyone that feels crazy enough that has a drone. Get a bunch of fucking hemp seeds and just start dropping them all over your neighborhood and start harvesting the hemp. Use it for clothes, concrete, paper, whatever the fuck you want to use it for, because hemp's one of the most useful things ever. Also, you will be doing a service because hemp absorbs all the poison in the land around you and cleanses all the water in the soil. So whatever you plant after you pull up the hemp is going to come up clean.
What? I did not know this.
Masaru Emoto, okay, 2 weeks before he died, doctor of water. I don't know if you've seen his water experiment.
Oh yeah, he didn't die. They killed his ass, bro.
They killed his ass. But remember what they killed his ass for? His last video talks about planting hemp on the California, aka Fukushima coast, to absorb all the radiation and neutralize it.
Right.
And 2 weeks later, his ass was dead.
Oh yeah.
Is there anybody who understands water and the, molecular properties of water better than that guy, even to this day? I don't think so.
There's a video that we've shared here multiple times. It's called "What the Bleep Do We Know?"
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I've seen both of them. What the bleep do we know, and what the bleep do we know too?
Right.
Because in part 2, they show the same experiment, but the same object in 32 dimensions of light at once. So that right there tells you there's 32 dimensions all around us all the time. Just in that one contained experiment.
Shush.
All you got to do is manipulate the sound and light in a room, and you can manipulate the dimensional presences in that room. Like, have you ever thought about that?
Pretty intense, do you think? Especially whenever you would be able to see them, experience them. Yes, dude.
Okay. So here's the thing, all right? Now, I've learned about the multidimensional brain because you not only have the multidimensional brain, but you have at least 128 multidimensional crystal fibers scattered throughout your brain. So it's an entire crystal matrix up there. Okay? But when the multidimensional brain awakens, it's like a flower pushing the other two out of the way. So at that point, you have a dolphin's brain, and you're actually using sonar. So you're seeing what you usually can't see. And you've got a multidimensional crystal matrix in the middle showing you all the spectrums you usually can't see. So in those times, which unfortunately usually manifest for people in sleep paralysis, where your head is going crazy, exploding head syndrome, mohawk of flame, body vibes, brain earthquakes, call it what you want. Everybody's got their own term for it. That manifests, and usually it's a fear response. And so it teaches you to not use your multidimensional brain. But if you don't choose fear, if you actually follow the feeling of that buzzing into that buzzing and take control of that, you will be able to move your body again. Now, I know because I went through this my own self in dealing with sleep paralysis over a period of 5 years. And I had to fight it because I didn't find a teacher until I was 19. And I did fight it. I learned how to use my multidimensional brain on my own. Okay, so you don't always need a teacher. You can do this yourself. And I learned to move, and I learned to flip off the shadow creatures in my room, and eventually to tell them to fuck off and leave me alone. And I learned how to do shielding on my own before I found a teacher as well. So it wasn't like it is now where you can just look this shit up on the internet. So it was, you had to find someone in your neighborhood or in your town or in the next, neighboring city who actually knew about something about like real magic and real energy and learn from them. You couldn't just go to your parents and say, "Hey, I'm possessed, or I'm
right.
from a shadow person raping me every night, and I need some help."
Right.
So send me a fucking exorcist.
Right. Or send you the Mayo Clinic for to go visit floor number 3.
Yeah, put you on Prozac and throw away the key.
Right.
Yeah, turn you off forever.
Mr. Socrates says, I used to use a black light and a glow in the dark for something. I'm not
so
sure.
Yeah, that's very disgusting.
Woo! Yeah, you can imagine seeing all of that shit. See here, but I guess here's the thing: for those people that don't truly believe in the 400 and 68th dimensional blah blah blahs. What do you say to someone that doesn't really believe in extraterrestrial entities and so on? How do you even begin to crack that nut?
I would say you're very fortunate that you haven't had to deal with these things. I would say you're very lucky, and that eventually all luck runs out. And I hope when it does, you don't respond the way that adults do if they get strep throat or they get chickenpox for the first time. It fucking kills them. So I would suggest that if you haven't seen it yet, keep an open mind, but still stay skeptical. I don't buy into things unless I have personal evidence of them. I try to be scientific about it because that was my approach to developing my own abilities. Otherwise, I was going to go mad in the inner city as the kid who could feel and sense everything, including when people were going to die. Yeah, I mean, I was that weird kid from the fucking Sixth Sense. I saw that movie and I saw myself. I'm like, God damn it, this is bullshit.
I see dead people. Yeah, I can imagine. That'd be some scary shit. I know that I don't really want to have. I don't want to have that ability. I know that it's possible. I know that it's possible, but I don't want to open that floodgate. I already got my DMT experience already subjected me for weeks, bro. I think I shared this with you already. For weeks. It fucked me up emotionally, mentally. I could feel people. I told my boss, I'm like, look, I drive 6 hours to so-and-so. I drive 6 hours back. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave. I can make my route. That's what they gave you. They gave us, plenty of time to get there. I'm like, this was right after my experience. I asked my boss, I'm like, can I just come in at like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night when everybody's gone out of the office, grab my truck, bust ass down to Sydney, Ohio, turn around, drop a hook, blam, come back up here. I see fucking nobody for almost a year and a half. Nobody, dude. It was weird. Really, really weird. I didn't have to deal with nobody. I didn't have to put up with traffic other than other trucks on the road at night and going down, you know what I'm saying? Going straight down my route. It's all there was, truck traffic. I had no radio in my truck. I didn't want to hear any of the bullshit. So I just like, no radio, no people. Trust me, if you want to learn your own self, who you are as a being, you be stuck in a truck for no radio, no anything, no nobody for at least a year and a half. You will fucking know what you like, what you don't like. You'll know your own thoughts. Trust me, man. It sucked, but nevertheless, I could like you, right? A lot like you. You empathic. You could feel people. I couldn't deal with it, dude. I had to shut myself down. I literally did.
Well, that's it. People don't protect themselves. Like, you think of your former self in any sense, whether it's empathic, emotional, metaphysical, and you think of the former experiences that used to shock you that are now almost nothing, blasé. It's like, oh, Mandela effects. Yeah, that's cool. But, when you first encounter these things, they completely change the way you perceive. And it kind of, like Morgan Roundtree was saying, if they're not ready, they're not ready. It's like if they don't have an inkling, they're not ready to break through that cell yet. And that's fine, because then those beings will attract to everyone else. But the thing is, being ignorant of something doesn't remove its awareness of you. And when we're dealing with these, not higher dimensional, but multi-dimensional parasites, Wetiko, Wendigo, skinwalkers, banshees, call them what you want, Baba Yaga, La Llorona. They've got a name in every culture, but in every culture, the pictures are the same.
You see
this? So call them what you want, but they're dream demons, and they take us when we're at our purest. I know that was my experience in my flying dreams. That's when they assaulted, because that's when I had the most robust energy, was in that form. And yeah, I mean, it manifests physically. And so when you're going through a process every night where something's draining you and taking all your energy and even attacking you in your dreams while your partner witnesses it, then it's completely changing your perception of reality. So you're going to go into a state of denial. All right. So a lot of these people that think they can't see, it's because they don't want to see, because their eyes are blinded for it. And there's nothing you can do for a possessed person that doesn't want to get better. There's absolutely nothing you can do for them, because ultimately when you try, it's the demon that's going to take control, and that demon is going to exert more force through them than you could possibly overcome in those moments. So you have to let people come to that realization on their own. And ultimately, at this juncture, grain sacrifice comes with great floods and rains to follow. These people look like amped, like they're ready to go nuts with weather modification and just cymatically melt everything they can that they don't agree with. It could happen anytime, and they're ready anytime. So the only thing you can do is just fight them back with the truth.
That's funny. What he just
put.
Now George Overton posted something.
I'm not wearing panties either.
And I don't know even what to think about this comment that George Overton posted. He says, I know that my Father, the Most High, and he knows him very well. I've been getting high with him for a long time. I'm like, that comment line kind of went over my head because I'm trying to analyze it. He's like, hell yeah, I've not really found anyone that knows him.
Sarcasm.
These comments are ditto, bro.
Yeah, talk about vampires and shit. Soul Eaters. Yep, that's another good depiction of them. What was that movie? The Deaths of Ian Stone. The Soul Eaters in that look a lot like dream demons. But I can give you a good list. Wes Craven's They is a good depiction. The Faceless Creature is an annotation of a shadow demon, because the shadow demon never has a face. Its face is always like a mask. Let's see. Of course, Nightmare on Elm Street, The Hat Man. The Babadook is a really good one, because it's an allegory of how a Babadook, will first, a shadow creature will first bond to a child and make the child go mad as it starts to enter puberty, and then feel fear to become a stronger entity through the child. But at first, think about it from a child's perspective. You've got this little shape-shifting blob that wants to be your friend. Like, of course you're going to say yes.
Right. You're a kid. You don't know any better.
Yeah. It's a shapeshifter. Kids love fucking weird animals and stuff, Mm-hmm. It can become anything you want it to be. It can take any form you want it to project.
Bro,
that's probably where the imaginary friend syndrome comes from.
Let's talk about this for a second. Since you're on to elementals. Because there's that topic that you're on is so deep. Just that little topic that you're on is so deep. Because it can go exactly to elementals, okay?
Mm-hmm.
We've all got a good friend here, very mutual friend, very good dude. Everybody knows him and his wife, Neptune and Pandora. So we were just talking about what was known as Momo. Do you remember that? Momo, that little creepy looking fucking internet viral weird thing, Momo. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Think so.
Let me show you Momo.
Okay.
Because for a long time, Momo did was an internet thing, right? But a lot of people don't realize is, you say this a lot. We have got to give them consent to do justification and harm to others. Neptune says the same shit. We've got to give them the okay to do what they're about to do, right? Momo. Let me find Momo.
Airbrush or mesh. I have heard the voice of a shadow person in my mind before, and it's painful. It's like nails on a chalkboard. It's like a voice with a physical. It's like a raking voice inside of your mind. If you've ever known anyone with a shrill voice.
Okay. Only thing I can show you is I found a short. Let me bring up this short. Also, I'm gonna have to grab this collar for a second. But check this. Yep. I'm gonna show you on my screen here, Momo. Okay, this little weird thing right here is Momo. Now let me play this. You see this, Momo? Now do you remember Momo?
I think I have seen this briefly before. It kind of reminded me of the chick from The Shining.
See, this was nothing more than an AI facade. Okay, this was a what you want to call it, an MK psyop.
Yeah.
This was a creation via be it a nefarious AI, from what I understand. I've talked to numerous people about that elemental. Okay, it was a creation, an AI creation that they put out on the internet that they wanted people to fuel. They wanted the energy thrown into it. Why and for what nature, I have no idea. But I'm telling you what I know.
A lot of these experiments, I mean, you have to think that they're going to be very wide-reaching. Wide-reaching.
Right.
Think of the nature of the Ashkenazi scientist. Now, they brag that their IQs on average are about 15 points higher than most people. Like the average Ashkenazi IQ is 115, and the average American IQ is like 100. And they don't hire any cops with higher than a 90 IQ in America since like 2006.
Imagine that shit.
Wonder why. It's
Right.
only borderline sociopath.
Right.
So, yeah, that was written into the National Defense Authorization Act in 2006 for some strange reason. All of a sudden, cops needed IQ limits, so automatically criminals got smarter.
Mr. Larry Hawkins is on.
So what I think about shadow people, the conclusions I came to, I didn't want to, but I've met so many people that actually have positive experiences with their shadow people, even positive sexual experiences that are built in love, and love they actually feel and express. These are not people that are getting drained every night. They're somehow experiencing symbiosis. I think it's based on the upbringing. What I do think is shadow people go berserk when you hit puberty, because all of a sudden you go from feeding them love, a pure child's love, which is one of the most pure energies on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone that's experienced a child's love knows it's one of the purest energies on the planet.
Absolutely.
And so they go through that, and then all of a sudden they're experiencing fear, uncertainty, and pineal awakening, which is painful for every host. Anyone that's gone through full pineal awakening is in pain. And I have a theory also that this correlates to smarter children. So these creatures, these shapeshifters, are attracted to brighter lights because they're bugs. They're wetiko. They're basically like larval stage caterpillars. They crawl into your spine and they mature there. And then when they reach full symbiosis, then they manifest as a form of your shadow back at you. And so when they talk about your shadow self, it's not always you. Sometimes it's a manifestation of the growth of this creature that's gone unchecked and then manifests as a fully grown shadow person. So what you're seeing is a reflection of yourself. I've had a very recent experience with someone that reminded me of how powerful this can be, even on a genetic basis. Even when you get away from someone who has a shadow person and it feeds like an abusive, toxic relationship or something like that, the connection remains. So that shadow person is going to use the genetic connection to continually try to get at you, especially if it's fed on you before.
We've got a manifestation on the switchboard.
Somebody that shouldn't be there?
No, Larry, we got Larry. Did you hear him coughing? Mr. Larry Hawkins, what's up, man? Welcome.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah.
You're talking my language, man. You're talking my language. How's it going, everybody? I hope everybody's doing well. I am sending smoke signals off to the abyss for all of you with positivity and blessings from my little dark hole in the Appalachian. Cheers. Dude, we must be related. Like, did they give you, like, the broken part of my brain that don't work anymore? Because you are right over target with most of what you're saying.
There are human beings.
Good job.
Like,
for most part. You've dug pretty well. Well, there's a delay. I don't mean to.
No,
go ahead.
I've met a bunch of people that I believe are human lighthouses. They just have a much brighter shine, and that shine comes through. And the thing is in the process of learning to manifest that much power and that much brightness and energy, you're going to draw more powerful dimensional opposites, which is naturally going to sharpen your own edge and reinforce your own nature to shield instinctively even. So I think this is one of the secrets that's hidden in the cells, especially of Rh negatives, because now what I'm seeing in society is non-Rh negatives fully manifesting metaphysical powers that are usually exclusive to Rh negatives, including, you know, electrical disruption of their surroundings and stuff like that, which usually doesn't happen.
That's what it.
Go ahead.
I'm B negative. I'm B negative, so I guess we are related.
You're a beta.
No,
That's a
I'm
beta
AB
blood.
negative. I'm actually one of the technically one of the bad guys, so I say long live the fifth column. But that's why I was groomed to my position at NASA. It was because I was a very specific blood type. And keep in mind, you know, my cousin made sun simulators for our government. And in I could tap in on a lot of the same things that you've been talking about. I'm over here going, yep. I actually have quite a similar history to you. I have a very strange life myself. I don't mean to cut you. When we're on the phone here, like there's a auto dampener, so I don't mean to talk over you. But when I'm over here and I hear a space and I start talking, it dampens whatever's on the other side. So I don't mean to talk over you if I do. No, it's my bad. I'm just real wordy.
You know.
I like to talk. But no,
me too.
I think we're all distributed pretty evenly through society. I like to say you don't need a lighthouse on every cliff edge, because then you would just make everybody confused, cause more damage than you started. But you got to have one here and there just to make sure everyone gets home safe. And the thing is, I've come to think of it, you know, I was pretty much raised in darkness, but that way my eyes, especially my third eye, calibrated to that darkness. And now if I need to go into that darkness to bring somebody out, I have that power, but I cannot do that without their direct consent. So I have to be very careful in who I connect my energies to, because at that point I can be that person, because those multidimensional creatures know if someone has an emotional connection to me, they can backdoor into me through that person. And that person just happens to be collateral damage to that creature, just for a chance to get a taste of my shine. And that's not fair to anybody I want to get close to. And so that's one of the reasons why these people keep in this cult. Now, I can definitely tell you, the Ashkenazi, like me, the AB negatives, we share a hive mind. We all think alike. And once you connect to them, you don't really break. So you can kind of foresee some of the weird shit they're planning in my head sometimes. It's just like a higher voice.
I just calculate stuff a little differently, but I'm kind of following. I'm the guy he was talking about earlier. Is that multidimensional stuff? I can talk to you about how it's mapped and how it's, you know, the galactic consciousness and things. And I'm kind of dorky, but I do it with brain damage at the same time. So I'm kind of walking with a limp. I call it, you know what I'm saying? But I just look things. I look at things a little differently, I guess. Like Matt and I, and several of these other people that I'll talk to. I got no problem poking fun at somebody that, you know, a few different aspects, but I try to, you get the idea. But I have a thing for trying to understand the environment around me. And I think what you're kind of talking about is, like I was saying, the X-point fields, the singularity of your cells is a shadow upon the electromagnetic cognitive static relationships to the singularity of the observation of self at a single celled level when matter gets its shadow. And that parasitic dark body entities, we dig through that rabbit hole all the time. So I could probably talk to you about how all the electromagnetic string theory aspects ties into what you're talking about with the spectrums of parasitic dark body entities, because that's one of my favorite dorky conversations personally. The mini black hole spectrums and all that such. I invented an air-powered car when I was 17 years old. And it has been suppressed, and I have been attacked and targeted and such since mid-90s-ish somewhere. So we have a similar history. Realistically, you would probably know who I was if they hadn't suppressed my technologies and my patents that I'd created, because some of that would have gone into space engine technology, but no one would let me have any sort of a normal life, so to say, air quotes. I've been in some shit that other people have started my entire life. So I get all that society being a suppression of someone to not want to see them shine, as you all would put it. But
I'm going to chime in.
Chaos brings evolution.
I want to chime in here for a minute, and that is this: has anybody ever? Now, this may sound absolutely hokey and shit. I've got two things. Number one, I want to read what Mr. George Overton said, and then I want to tell you what I'm going to tell you. He says, "You all know everything is either backwards, upside down, or inside and out. Anything but what really is." So A goes to AI, right? Is really what? Art of face ale, artificial sig or sima, simulated. But he says, but this is just an distraction or distract at an ion. We all know at an ion level. Now, going back to what you're saying about dark shadow entities, hang on, experiencing the perception of singularity. You, me, we all are a single point. This is what a lot of people don't get. You are a single motherfucking pixel in a vessel. Okay? Everything that's presented to you scientifically starts on the inside. Okay? We experience the reality on the field, okay, through the perception of the eye. The eye itself doesn't see. It is just the window to the perception. Right? So knowing what we're saying and we're experiencing, if we can see our shadow during a state of depression, anxiety, blah, 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 go stare at, go stare at yourself in the mirror for a minute and just fucking talk to your shadow. It's part of you. It is you. So if you, your own self, ain't feeling depressed, you just feel like a wave, an emotional wave of depression, some aspect of you is being targeted. Some aspect of you is being, what's the word I'm looking for? Manipulated? You guys understand what I'm saying to you, right? Hello?
It's like an eel and a fish. It's like an eel and a fish swimming in water in the middle of a galaxy. The fish doesn't really swim. The bird doesn't really fly. Is that conversation, that phrase they usually use with you? It's about the beetles understanding the magnetic anomaly spectrums of the environment around them and allowing the gravitational flux and their cognitive static relationships to their observable realities allows them to levitate, in a sense, sort of like the Hutchinson effect technologies and Searle effect technologies. And little spoiler alert, if you put my devices that I have been targeted my whole life trying to get you guys to not have to pay for gas anymore and such. But I digress. Some of these technologies, if you put them together, they can do great things. And that's part of why they would never want to put my self-sufficient perpetual air-powered generator, in a sense, to be put with something like a Searle effect generator, because you all won't have an electric bill anymore. Imagine if you never paid for oil products for the rest of your life. I'm not trying to pitch myself, but I'm giving you an example. If you put some of these technologies together in the same plate, you can figure out all this stuff that you're talking about. The thing is, we're nobodies down here putting these little puzzle pieces together. And I always throw on the table when I talk to you guys, if we don't know shit, imagine the people that do know shit that could correct the world's problems by tomorrow, but they don't. I have a problem with that. That's why I usually jump in here.
We all
if they're mapping the singularity of a shadow anywhere, there's a satellite that maps water, all water, everywhere. Not just, there's a satellite that's like, wherever water shall be, the photon shall show up in this 3D CGI device simulator for me. And it's fucking there. Just like a magnetic anomaly spectrums of someone being traumatized leaves a signature. Remember I told you that there's a camera that can show your shadows and your energy fields and everything you're talking about? They can use these cameras to see your footprints and handprints going back in time, right? These satellites can turn back tornadoes that like they're happening right now, but they could go back. We all know what we're talking about.
Sure.
The nifty little thing is the AI does know all the answers. So we have to throw everyone under the bus. You're either doing the right thing or you're doing the wrong thing.
Oh,
could you solve the problem?
damn.
But you're not.
Damn.
I'm going to leave that there, and I accept direct deposits, guys.
Hang on, Larry.
Anyway, they have
hang on, because
life detection systems, human activity recognition softwares, magnetic anomaly detection platforms. You got a yellow star in your driver's license. That's called Operation Moonshot. It tracks your DNA. The Amber Alert systems ties back into who? Terramar Project. They know everything. You got a phone around you. You guys think the internet system is interesting now? Give it about 10, 20 years. If we're still here, what they're going to be doing with the technologies. It's mind-blowing. But I digress. Go ahead.
So I had an experience that
I just got here.
What you're talking about today. I went to configure my voice on this thing, and just on this computer, because I just got this computer last week. And I went in and I noticed that it said configure voice, and it said Microsoft David as my first name. I'm like, okay, this is weird. And I hit play. I have never spoken into this machine before. So that means Microsoft had my voice on load on their system already to speak back to me already. I thought that was really freaking odd and kind of intrusive because I never gave consent for that. I've just, talked online in a bunch of different places. So I thought that was really strange. But yeah, I was just thinking earlier when we were on the podcast, there's these people running around with these jets on their wrists, and they've also proven that you could swim really good with these jets on your wrists and on your legs. We could literally just be flying around with little mini jet pieces based on the many parked broken jets in America right now. We could all just be flying everywhere, free of charge, no problem. But yeah, they need to poison everything in order to do what they want to do right. Because it's also partially terraforming what they're doing. If they're going to bring through a greater elder god like they seem to be planning, then they're going to need to make sure that the planet is perfect for its arrival. And these Nazis don't do anything single purpose. They absolutely believe in what they're doing, even though what they're doing is fucking crazy. It's still necromancy, no matter if they call it transhumanism.
I'm building a...
You're what?
I was getting an echo really bad. That's good.
You said you're building, or was you going to say something about that?
I got a doubling of the audio, and it's tripping me. It's tripping me out a little bit.
Well,
there's like a relay. There's a mirroring of everything that's being said.
You may want
to bouncing back in the audio. I'm gonna have to bounce out and. Yeah, he was talking in like 30-second delay over himself. It's tripping me out.
Well,
I was saying I was building an electric flying bicycle, basically a paragliding kit. But I can't really keep up with the conversation. I don't mean to jump in or whatever's going on, but I've got to I got to bump out and then call back in because I'm being mirrored. I got to reset.
All right. Gotcha.
My audio is messing with me bad.
Nope.
I'll call you right back.
But we'll be here.
Okay.
Again, what's funny is you NASAnon, right? Came in here with somebody on your back. Because again, the switchboard don't show just you. It shows now it shows 4 different people.
What?
Yeah, 4 different people. I'm seeing 4 people. So
they must really like what I'm talking about.
I'm just saying, I can't even remotely see where those other 4 people are at. So, or those other.
I didn't allow
2.
anyone in.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
That's really weird. Well, we are talking about some high level crazy stuff, and they don't like to be called necromancers, so they don't like to be called what they're called. They'd rather be called vampires than necromancers because people actually like vampires. Nobody likes a fucking necromancer.
See, that's the thing. No one, a lot of people in general society cannot even fathom that their senators, their governors, their the administration, right, do these kinds of things. Think about that. They
Do you think they would have blood drinking clinics if they weren't drinking blood?
Well, of course, bro. That's because people dying in the hospital need blood transfusions. People, they come up with all of these excuses. Why? You check this out, right? Whenever Matthew Jr. was born, let me tell you a little funny. At that time back in the day, I would used to hunt, right? I love deer meat. I eat deer meat. Right. Nevertheless, I was a big hunter. Now, whenever Matthew Jr. was born, I did not, blood, guts, gore, blah blah blah. Done. I'm cool with it. Do you know that my dumbass went and touched my wife's placenta? I'm like, oh look, and they're like, oh no, don't. It's biohazard. No, you can't touch that. I looked at that woman. The nurse. I'm like, bitch, I gut deer and then scratch my nose. Are you kidding me? Biohazard? That just come out of my wife.
Yeah, I made that.
So I'm like, what I'm saying is the placenta, right? The placenta is like they want that the root. They want that root of the womb of the man.
Yeah. Well, they're supposed to actually let that transfer to the child in its entirety until it's drained. And then traditionally, the wife is supposed to cook it lightly and then eat it to regain a lot of the strength that she lost and repurpose the tissues that she just lost. I mean, that's like the whole tradition. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where it comes from.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things we can do. Drones and hemp seeds, basically making our own energy. I like to say do-it-yourself lightsabers and invisibility.
Okay.
Because you can make both.
Okay.
Let's see if that's better. Is that better? Can you?
I'm back.
I'm back.
Yeah, that was trippy, dude. That was if that was like what it's like to take acid, I would presume. Hint, hint, wink, wink. It was bouncing off of itself. Everything that was when he started talking, I started getting double, tripled, overlaid conversations of everything he said, and I had to keep track of the first time he said it. But it was like a minute delay. It was weird.
Oh,
okay,
shit.
I'm back. It's cool.
All right. No, just
Anyway,
getting back.
Whatever you were just talking about, I'll jump in wherever. Oh, jeez. I don't know what you guys heard, but that was fucking weird.
Let me
over
throw
here.
this at you guys. Let's discuss this for a second because it's me and Larry. It can be really interesting to get a third person perspective. Whenever me and Larry talk off air, we again, usually it is an hour to 2-3 hours, okay, into the conversation, and we just barely
Sometimes days.
Yeah, right. Well, hang on. We'll just continue this conversation. What I'm saying is we get into the topics of CERN. Okay, what exactly do you your own self believe, Anon, that CERN itself is trying to do with this field of creation? I know that's a loaded question. Did you hear me? He's kicked back.
Right.
He is.
How much time you got?
He's hello. He can't. He obviously can't fucking hear me.
Oh, they mess with him now.
Yeah.
I think a short, brief.
No,
answer,
I'm talking to you. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead. I hear him now.
I think, given that it's the same cult that wrote the Judeo-Christian Bible, the King James Bible, the Council of Nicaea, that evolved into the Masonic cult that we now call transhumanists, I think they're going with the whole 7 keys to 7 gates. The 7 keys being these hadron colliders, because there's one in Tennessee. That was the first one. There's Switzerland. There's China. There's Australia.
China.
I think there's
China's is 64 miles across.
Exactly.
Bro,
So
there's 30,000. 30,000.
Yeah. 7 keys to 7 gates to bring through the 7 old ones. I think they're going with that whole line. Now, whether they're going to simulate it or they're actually going to bring through some greater archons, I don't fucking know. But I know these people are insane, and they are absolutely devoted to this cause, so I would not underestimate them. Given that we now have a southern borealis, where we did not have a southern borealis
mapped
2 years ago, we have a brand new tear in our magnetosphere, and it's pink, at night in Australia lately. I don't know if anybody's picked up on this. And this is right after they've had 3 years of steady photos of this giant planet over Wolf Creek. I can't tell whether it's Atu or Anu, but that is a great astral body that's just been chilling there for 3 years. And there's plenty of camera footage to show it. They've been recording it nonstop. It honestly looks like it's either been damaged on the surface or that it's kind of projecting holograms. But yeah, if you look up the planet over Wolf Creek, you'll get an eyeful. So now we have this magnetosphere, which I would say is probably the second key. China's been ramping this up. CERN really doesn't turn down much. And meanwhile, we can't get a break from all these high-pitched frequencies in our ears that's driving everyone nuts. You know, these are the ultimate combination shots, even before the most recent combination shot.
Rob Gothier, and I'm sorry, I'm reading what Christopher Peoples dropped in this chat. He says both Rob and Colina Angel have separate channelings on their YouTube channels talking about CERN is not evil. I'm almost shocked to read that.
Well,
I don't even want to get in that conversation. I think the planet's been in a Philadelphia experience since Tesla, and I think that the augmented realities of the planet, like you had said, the oscillating spectrums of the energy fields not only weaponizes the planet, but it mobilizes the planet, but it also turns the planet into a big hologram platform. Thank you to Operation Fishbowl, Dominic, Starfish, and things like that had been done with the ionization of the atmosphere, turning everything into a easier dimensional mapping plane. I think the ribbons of those things have a oscillating resonance factor with the quantum entanglement platforms that are online. And there's a thing called the CGI Corporation, which is basically the AI that's mapping the world simulation system called Simulex. And I think it ties into fiber optic networks being put around the planet, being used with photonic fluctuation platforms and energy fields, basically turning the planet into a Dyson sphere like you were getting into earlier. And if you environmentally target specific subatomic spectrums, kind of like Tesla was doing. Who stole Tesla's work, by the way? Was that New York? Yes. I believe it was. CIA Who took all his shit? Let's see. Who's the alphabet soups that knows everything about everything's everything? But I digress. But the Tesla devices and the effects of the fiber optics has basically turned the planet into a teleportation hub. And I think the future of society is not just a matter of we're the last of us, but pretty soon they're going to start using fiber optics to teleport your consciousness, which is 10% of your being when it's faxed. But I digress. That's already online, by the way.
So the portal phenomena you can find etched in the ruins of every society from 15,000 years ago. This happens as a natural defense mechanism around the planet, where portals open to the home worlds of creatures that choose to live here in those times, so they can escape before the greater cataclysm happens. Now, this planet
what's a portal?
Like portals, because our sun creates portals 2 kilometers outside of itself. The Aurora Borealis, until now, was the only gaping maw portal that never closed. And that opens 2.2 kilometers out of the sun. Now, in 2016, NASA launched a mission called the Multi-Scale Mission, where they sent drones into these portals. They literally sent them into the portal at the Aurora Borealis.
Yeah.
They pinpointed it through, and they never concluded their findings. But ever since 2016, we've been getting these shotgun blasts in the fucking sun that then we have to ride through in solar winds, and they call them coronal mass ejections. But they're preceded by
think of your pupil.
Well documented, coming from our planet. So what I'm theorizing they're doing is they're using these portals to shoot giant laser weapons into the surface of the sun, causing these photonic blasts on the outside, which cause this coronal
germ teleportation devices.
That then, so they're basically using the planet's natural or unnaturally made, we might think at this point, since we have
the Sophia project.
So I think now if you look at the sun, it looks like it committed ritual seppuku. And if you overlay the emblem of the black sun with our current sun, if you take a picture of it right now, then you will see correlations.
Oh, yeah.
Correlations.
You know something that kind of fuck you up? If I could pause you for a second. Think of every speck of the consciousness that I was talking about before as the X-point anomaly spectrums. Think of that as a black hole in itself. That singularity of the little dot of the speck of the observable reality of the, like Schrodinger's cat perspective of the smallest singularity of your shadow. Now, what makes shadows in our galaxy? The sun, correct?
No,
so is the fish wet?
It doesn't make it.
When it's in the ocean?
It allows us to perceive
What is
it.
What is that? When it creates shadows, therefore the sun is an oscillation factor of quantum entanglement.
No, it isn't. And no, it doesn't.
Of the sun.
Larry, go back to what we've talked about.
The sun makes shadows, right?
No, the sun allows you to perceive your shadow. Your shadow, right? Your shadow already exists, bro.
Well,
it's an entity of its own
self. But there's a quantum entanglement with the sun. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, of course, there would have to be. It is.
We're saying the same thing, but different.
Right.
So if you think of that singularity, and then change that perspective of the singularity of your self-observable single dot of the shadow. Now, it is part of the multitude of all shadows. I always tell you guys, stick your hand up in the air, look at your shadow on the wall, give it a high five. My shadow just gave your shadow a high five.
That's correct. That's right.
We're the same fucking shadow, right?
Yes,
now,
we are.
look at upper atmospheric animals, right?
But wait.
Think of that singularity as a spore, right? Think of the singularity as a spore in the multitude of scalar waves, of consciousnesses that we've thought of in our heads that take up space. All that is mapped.
Anon is shaking his head at you, bro.
Okay, so I have looked at the particle densities, and I've seen particles go in and out of phase, and different pieces of my own particles go in and out of phase under a particle telescope. So I've taken the samples, I've looked at myself, and know that I'm going different places all the time. All right, I understand that multiple dimension thing going on all the time, and I probably wouldn't if I hadn't, walked through a dimensional portal accidentally once or twice, or I hadn't seen a temporal ripple. But in going through a process like many people have at this point, all these dimensional refugees out there who quietly, lament their lost Earths, their previous homes. And for many of us, that's many, many homes that we've left behind. It makes you numb after a while. But what we're going through, I don't know if anybody's seen Jet Li's The One, but as particle density increases,
that's a great movie.
Dimensional destruction happens, because dimensions are collapsing. I don't know if you perceive that.
Altered states.
Dimensions as we go. So we're losing dimensional density because these dimensions are fragmenting. But we're also increasing in particle density, because every time I notice, after I go through the morose, spiritual aspect of feeling all those energies displaced, disconnected, and then reconnected, I get stronger. My abilities come back harder. They come back stronger. And so maybe that's part of the process, and I have no outward, way to perceive this, because I only perceive it through my AB negative cells, very specific type of blood flow. And
it's epigenetic. It's like how a dog knows to bark. Yeah.
So, and what I learned about the B negative antigen, by the way, my sister, she hypersexualized like really hard, because also in my bloodline we have porphyria. That's why they know us as vampires. That's why they create blood drinking clinics. A lot of them give in to their porphyria. They don't find healthy ways.
That's ironic.
It's pretty obvious, actually. You got billionaires fucking drinking from their sons on Forbes magazine at this point. It's pretty fucking obvious. So a lot of them give in. My sister hypersexualized based on this, and then at about the age of 28, she lost her B negative antigen, so she started aging more rapidly than I do. So now my younger sister looks much older than me. Because she...
I seem to be like wine. I get better looking the older I get.
Well, I mean, that's being a guy in general. Girls have till about 35, and then it's downhill for most of them. We hit our prime between about 30 and 40. That's why they try to lock us down before we hit our potential in our 20s.
Well, I don't know about that stuff, but I don't know. It's the things that how we base our perspective of existence is always an interesting journey for everybody, I guess. That's kind of what I was trying to say earlier, is the observation of the realities. It's like when you're looking through the pupils of your eyes, you have the observable, non-observable realities. Obviously, we know that there's a gazillion clouds in the sky, but we don't watch them all, but they still exist. But it seems that like the spectrums of the shadow does transfer epigenetics, and if it's kind of like you got the antenna or you don't got the antenna, I guess. Some of my way I look at like I literally have complex traumatic brain injuries from jobs I've had and such. So some of my stuff doesn't function right, but it gives me a little extra juice in other areas. So maybe there's just stuff that I'm not gonna hear. I don't know.
No,
but
that's the same.
I think the pupil is the black hole, and we have two pupils, and it's the oscillations of the two black holes of our observable realities, and that spectrum ties out into our environment like a tree, with the leaves breathing the air, going to the roots talking to the spores in the dirt, and we just transfer this cognitive spectrums through the water. Well, the water's full of who the fuck knows what. So I mean, I don't know. It's everybody's got their own little thing.
You say water, like we're not walking down on the bottom of an ocean of air. We're constantly surrounded by water.
Exactly. See, somebody else said it. See, I like this guy.
Yeah,
I like this guy.
Look. There's a question from Chris Peebles that says, "Hey Larry, do you think that shadows would exist in a non-physical reality where there is no physical whatsoever, and duality has been resolved?" So I guess what he's saying is singularity to experience itself, know everything about itself.
That's no different than a dream. That's the easy answer for me. It's no different than a dream or a thought.
Do you think
it's got its own existence, so it has a plan of an alternate reality? Unless, of course, you have multiple personalities or just imaginary friends, and then you've got a whole different other handful of stuff going on.
I gotta say,
as far as I go with that,
my answer to that one is this: I myself am now, because of what he just said, gonna have to really, really start paying attention whenever I become lucid, and see if I can see a shadow in my dream state. You know what? I have never.
What you need to do. Sorry, there's a delay. What I was going to say was what you'd need to do is find a mirror and specifically look for a reflective point in your dream. Control the fact of you're thinking about your dream, because you can. I loved the Freddy Krueger aspect, by the way. Personally, what if I told you he was framed and he actually wasn't the bad guy? I'll just leave that on the table.
I was laughing at
Freddy Krueger was innocent until Freddy Krueger. What if Freddy Krueger was innocent until he got set up, and then he was given a gift like the crow? But I'll just leave that alone.
He's a great
what the hell was I talking about? I got sidetracked.
Krueger, Adon just said he's a great fucking guy. Yeah, that's right.
Find a reflective surface, and like a TV. You can, if you're dreaming, you're in your living room. There's mirrors, there's puddles of water, there's TVs, there's shiny pants. Find a sword, a shield, some kind of something, and put it in your hand, and look at it, and look at yourself in the mirror, just like you said earlier. And when you find your actual self, say that you want to see the real you. You want to see, because this is my house, and I control this shit. This is my dream.
That's right.
If not for me, this wouldn't be here. I am in control here. You show me in this reflection, and you will begin to learn how to control your dream realms. If you remember us talking a while back, I also fought the dream thing, and I stayed awake for almost 2 fucking weeks, a few different times at a time. And I don't recommend it. But I wanted to know, why the fuck do I have to sleep? Why do I have to dedicate 30-some% of my existence to Snoozyville.
Okay, I got this one.
Probably because
I
you're
got
being uploaded to an
okay,
AI
here
system and
is the
reset.
Hang on. Larry, let him talk.
Am I muted?
Go ahead.
Okay, so
Yeah,
here's
go
the
ahead.
explanation, which I actually went into this earlier. Okay, now you are a multidimensional being of constantly changing particle density, scattered amongst a multiverse. We all agree there, right?
Yep.
Like we are dimensionally scattered, and we are fragmented.
Yeah,
Okay,
we're not
we all
really here.
understand.
Yeah, technically.
All right.
Yeah.
So now, the reason you dream, okay, is because the dream is the real realm. And to answer that question, what I believe is yes, these antimatter entities, which we have shown exist around us that appear in shadow through a double concave lens, will absolutely continue to appear as shadow because they are made of antimatter and we are not. Even on the astral plane,
Man, you're good.
we're still made of the same type of matter. Okay, now setting that aside, the reason you have to sleep is because when you go to sleep, okay, what happens is your multidimensional brain awakens so that you can connect to the dream realm. Okay, this requires going out of your body to some degree. So at that point, your two hemispheres push outwards, your multidimensional brain unfolds like a flower and pushes to the top, and then it unfolds all of its brain fibers, okay, which keep in mind, this is what fiber optic wiring was designed based off of, your multidimensional brain region. Okay, so this is why you get this
So it was mind separation technologies.
Yes, exactly.
Go ahead.
And it's absolutely manufactured. I do agree there. We are chimeras. We are bioengineered. We're very intelligent AI. So much that we've made very intelligent AI, and we've made chimeras in our own image. In the image.
Can I ask you? Can I?
But so let me just finish. Let me just finish this one.
Okay.
So when
There's a delay on this pretty bad, but I'm keeping up.
When you leave the body, okay, you are leaving a housing that is trying to contain a fragmented, multidimensional greater consciousness. Okay, so at that point, the body and the muscles in it that are trying to contain this energy and process it are able to rest and go into sleep mode like a robot. Okay, this is why they think they can transfer consciousness into robots, is because this is how our sleep process actually functions. And in that time, you are tethered.
Well, they don't think they can. They are.
Yeah, they're doing it.
Good.
To your body via your multidimensional consciousness. And that manifests in the multidimensional brain. You know, you go through it because it's that corridor of light, like a kaleidoscope that's all around you. And you'll see like some busted pieces, you'll see some missing pieces, but ultimately it's like somewhere between a kaleidoscope and a cornucopia. And you go through that hallway within your own mind, which is all fragmented light. If you look up a picture of the multidimensional brain, you'll understand because it's all fragmented colors. And you go through that and you leave through the pineal. So that's the hallway. The pineal is the window, okay? And it's the base of your medulla oblongata, so it just folds back down when you wake back up. And then you stop seeing.
That's why the lobotomy was created.
Yeah, to basically numb the pineal gland and to completely nullify any sexual or personal desire. Kill all drives, basically. Because the pineal awakening, I still believe, is the definitive process in the human existence when we all really start to awaken for the first time. You know, when we start manifesting abilities that shouldn't exist.
Miss Carolyn Shepard asks if anyone has ever heard of a dream walker, and I told her yes, because I'm an astral projector. I teach astral projection. I teach becoming
Gateway Project.
I teach people how to become aware of their multidimensional being in their own head. I mean, I've walked through this with you guys a numerous amount of times.
There's a great movie that I suggest to you from time to time. It's Altered States.
Oh, I've seen that.
It's a good movie. It's about a scientist trying to find the epigenetic singularity of the first, basically the X-point particle, the cognitive static relationship or the parasitic lineage between the oscillation of matter and dark matter having a tidal lock together. Like your left eye, your right eye, two portals observing one reality. It oscillates through the shadow realms, like you're saying. We say a lot of the same stuff. We just say it different.
It's a great.
You're very well educated, by the way. I'm actually impressed with the way you can lay all this out. I didn't mean to jump in on your microphone stuff, but you actually do a pretty good job. I'll give you kudos.
No, like Altered States is a great movie. William Hurt is awesome in it. But really think of the way that ended without giving away how it ends to, the few people that haven't seen it. And I mean, think of
if you guys have not seen that, go see it.
He takes, like, whoa. I mean, that's some seriously like from beyond stuff right there. Total like Lovecraftian. Like, I mean, the fact that it goes into cosmic horror at the end is fitting, but at the same time, in a movie like that, you're never really ready for it because you're not really expecting cosmic horror to just manifest. But yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah,
the cosmic reality, cosmic horror is going to be a natural side effect of that. So you have a lot of people now that are trying to get into cosmic reality, but they're not aware of the monstrous nature of it as well. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure there's a nasty little set of devices out there that is specifically infiltrating itself in the lineage of the dream realms of all of society, and I'm pretty sure that place was called Pine Cap. But I digress. What I wanted to ask you was your perspective of which part of the formula of what I'm going to ask you do you think would have more rights to be here? Here, as in the observable reality of the thisness that we observe as our lifetime journeys of what the fuck we're doing here. Which part do you think, both of you, actually, I'd like to know from both of you, which part of you do you think has more right to be here? Your dream realm, your shadow, your you that's clapping your hands, the physical meat suit called you that you use to be in this reality as we see it, but also oscillates into the dream realm. So you got to consider which part of these perspectives, or in some aspects, just to throw a wrench in there, what if the water is the alien and we're just the parasites swimming around in its isthmus, because we are like 80% water. Water retains memories, and there's different perspectives of water involved with this planet as we know it. Is the water the consciousness, and it's just using us like amoeba in a river? But all the river amoeba are a hair on the body of the planet called Sophia. Which perspective do you think has more right to be here? Ready, set, go. You, your meat suit, your dreams, the shadow, your environment, your aura, the whatever magical personality you want to choose for the evening, whatever. Which perspective do you think has more right to call this is me, this is mine?
Do you want to go first on this, Anna?
You can throw AI in there. You can put AI in there too if you want to, because I always throw in there, those that control the hive mind will control the multiverse. If you control the multiverse, you have become, in a sense, godlike. So which perspective has more right to be here? The control system, because we're all controlled, right? Which part of this has more right to be here? Ready, set, go. I'm curious.
You're talking about something that's supposed to be granted to me as a free inheritance. I mean, I'm supposed to be making
whatever you call you and your journey of you-ness. Which one has more right to be here?
6-7 figures. My shadow has no right to be here. That's why I burned it out and absorbed what was left. It was an antimatter parasite.
Can't get rid of your shadow.
Get rid of it. Oh no, I got rid of my shadow person. He got burned out. Now, in terms of like what part of me has the most right to be here, everything that makes me me has every right to be here. Every piece of particle that's made it this far, but I don't actually have the attachment to this reality. Realize I was raised.
Technically, our cells don't touch, and we're not really here, right? But that's like, why I'm asking.
No, it's not that we're not really here. It's that I'm not going to mourn a reality that I already feel destabilizing around me, especially when I haven't been here all that long anyway. You know, my home is long gone. Like the dimension that I fucking came from originally, that they collapsed around me when I was about 7, and I watched literally the properties of things in my own home change instantly. In the temporal ripple.
How does everything happen to us when we're little?
No. Yeah, I miss my home world for sure, my home dimension, but I'm not going to be too sentimental about Earth 5 if this one collapses. My particle density is going to increase. And that's just where, like, the whole being raised as a sociopath actually kind of is working for me. Because at this point, I'm really just trying to wake people up to their own reality, like their own potential, not necessarily for power, but at least for payback in their own time, because they really deserve the opportunity for it. Like, if people really knew what's being done all around them, they'd absolutely stop what they're doing. They'd find new industries for themselves, and they would find ways to stop what was going on all around. It's just, they count on people not looking into the truth. But yeah, no part of me has any right to be in this dimension. I'm not justified to exist by any fucking greater thing. I'm just here, and so the least I could do is help out a little bit and maybe make reality a little better for the people that are experiencing it.
Yeah.
Can I go? Safely? All right. I mean, I'm not smoking weed, so I can't really go in depth into the way.
Oh, I am.
But well, you know how I get whenever I smoke. So I'm gonna try to do this and explain it to you. The both of you guys are like flying high.
It's your story, man. It's you just. What do you think? Which part do you think has more right to be here? The same perspectives, I guess.
Every bit of me that chose to be here in this now is here. Okay. Every bit of me that chose to participate, experience within this now fragment moment is here. But where is here?
Like the epigenetic of family that brought you to existence aspects. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, exactly. But here's the thing.
Whatever brought you here.
There's a reason we're here. There's a reason we are existing. I am existing right this moment on this plane of field for someone to perceive. They're hearing the voice. They're hearing my voice. They're hearing and seeing you. You know what I'm saying? They're hearing what's going on. Right? So we obviously chose to experience one another in this very singularity moment of perception. And whatever part of me exists, whether it be seen or unseen, that's what you're going to experience. Whether it be a bad side of me, a good side of me, a shadow side of me, a stone side of me. Come on, Anon, you just like laughing your ass off. Am I like, that's the world I'm in. Come on, you're wanting to say something. Say it.
Oh no,
I'm smoking.
I thought it was funny.
Airbrush Mish asks.
Well, I guess all of the steps that had been taken of our ancestors before us. I guess like we're walking our journeys now, and every ribbon of energy around the planet does make a difference. We do have a tear in our electromagnetic spectrum, as you mentioned before.
But
that's what happens when you end up with a dead cell on a battery, right?
How,
I guess we can each make a difference, even though we're on our own journeys.
Larry, let me just ask you this, okay? Because there's people out there that think that we are in a really fucked up place, right? I've seen it. Anon's seen it. You've seen it. We all have seen it. But here's my perception of the reality around me. Okay? I question it all. I mean, I question every single thought that goes through my head when it comes to tangibility, reality. Now, in saying that, I'll say this. I truly feel in my heart that with everybody that's up in this chat, they can hear me, see me, experience my world. There is nothing not going to be okay at some way or another. In other words, we've all seen the movie with Jim Carrey in it, right? Where the Truman Show, where the light falls from the fucking ceiling. I believe that we are going to be okay, regardless of what scenario we are all going to be put in, no matter what it is. It's not going to matter because it's going to be okay. We are inevitably, one way or the other, in control of things. We are in control of things. We just don't realize it.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy rules. 1, don't panic. 2, always have your towel.
The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe.
Man, why you gotta do that? I'm drinking some water. You're gonna kill me over there. And you almost made a lot of friends right there, man. You about to choke me to fucking death.
Let me share something with the both of you. Adon, let me share something with you, and share a story with everybody. A lot of these guys know I'm an astral projector. I consciously wake up in my body. People sometimes are scared shitless of paralysis. I welcome it. I look for it, because at that point is my mind exit point. Okay, when the body's asleep, mind is alert. It won't move. I'm gone. Now, with that being said, I woke up myself in a dream. Okay, and I seen myself sitting at a bar. I had no fucking clue that a white can, black wording Monster Energy drink even existed. Now, mind you, I had no idea that this can of stuff existed in my physical reality. But I'm looking at myself. I'm watching myself in my dream. Okay, drink. I mixed this and this and this into this drink, and I called it it's like, I don't know, a monster crab apple or some shit. It was Coke. It was Coke, Coca-Cola, right? Or I'm sorry, it was Mountain Dew, this Monster Energy drink, and some cranberry
all the way around, man.
and it was crown apple or some shit. It was supposedly it was really good. Nevertheless, I'm talking. I'm like, what am I? I literally was in my dream. I'm like, what am I drinking? And I remember at the bar, I remember seeing the reaction. I'm like, in the dream, I'm like, what did you just say? And I caught myself. And this was where it fucked me up for about 2 days, because I became aware of talking to myself in my dream. I was literally communicating. I'm dreaming, but I was talking to myself in my dream. So what exactly was I experiencing at that point? And this is a question to the both of you, or anyone else. I mean, because it fucked me up. I woke up in my dream, talking to myself, knowing that I'm talking to myself, and it freaked me out even at the bar scenario. I'm like, what?
Well, I may have a quick answer for you, and I think a couple of weeks ago we discussed some technology of let's just go with crafts. I think the open topic conversation, and we're obviously past that, is Gen 6 through 10 technologies in crafts, and let's just go with cloaking and new technologies that just simply can't be seen, can send, transmit, oscillate, and affect in any way, shape, or form on a continental platform of transferring thoughts to whomever. And I think that had something to do with the Israel conversation we had a while back. Yeah.
Hey, Don, are you going to be all right?
The abilities for all of this to be manipulated with technologies that society probably has absolutely no idea is even out there. I'm just saying your dreams can be manipulated.
Hey, Don, are you going to be all right?
I mean, that whole thing could just be it could be an implant for all we know. It could be the water talking to us.
What the hell did I experience?
Well, here's the thing I've learned about a lot of these experiences. If you take them at face value at first, you'll often see the wrong things. Now, if you process these experiences over, my experiences were way different. I was always a strong astral traveler. Because everyone always told me my dreams weren't real, I didn't take it seriously. So I went far. I went way too far and found myself surrounded by predators. But, I guess in retrospect, I was surrounded by, these things the whole time. It's just, it took me a lot of years to actually adapt to seeing them, in very specific circumstances. But once, that's the thing, like they say, once you look into the abyss, it's always looking back. That's the truth. Once you become aware of these creatures, like there's a really good movie called Odd Thomas that draws a really good depiction of these multidimensional parasites all around us all the time. Like they're always hungry because they feed on fear, and that's not very filling.
I believe there's 13 different temperature ranges of dark body entities.
So I've seen like a picture of like 13 different shadow entities on one piece of paper drawn by someone else. But it's funny because they're all the different ones I've seen over the years. So I think it's really interesting that I found that singularity right there, that like synchronicity. But going back to what you were saying earlier, I was actually shocked out of my body at age 3 by a near-death experience, and that's when I learned time didn't
Me
really
too.
matter much. Well, yeah, I had a snake.
I had
It killed me for like a
yeah.
second. I felt the bone crack,
I was
and then
hit.
all of a sudden I was floating. Can I finish? So I was floating through the living
Yeah.
room, and
Yeah.
I remember floating through the
Me too.
living room, and I heard my mom talking, and then I saw myself from over my mom's shoulder playing with my 3-story Matchbox set and doing specific things with it. I remember specific words coming out of my mom's mouth. I can't remember to this day. But the very next day, I'm sitting there in the kitchen playing with my 3-story Matchbox set. And I hear the same words coming out of my mom's mouth. And then I look over her shoulder and I see absolutely nothing there. No disturbance or anything. But I don't know what I was expecting to see, but I was looking for me. You know, I was looking for any sign that it was me right there, but I couldn't see anything. But that awareness became intuitive at 3 years old because of that experience. And then all of a sudden, I knew a phone number that I wouldn't have for 4 years at age 3. It was a real weird way to be shocked into like an early awakening. But I think that also damaged my development somewhat.
I was hit in the head with a log when I was about 7-ish. And I actually had bleeding, a hemorrhage. After I got out of the military, I found out there was a bunch of shit that wasn't right. But when they were testing the brain damage stuff on me, they found out that I had an old brain hemorrhage from when I was little. I was hit with a log in the side of my melon and basically had bleeding in the brain, and I just went on about my life. I had an out-of-body experience briefly after that. I thought somebody might have slipped me a magic brownie that I wasn't supposed to get or something, but it was very similar. A dumb question is you're probably already familiar with string theory, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
If you tie string theory into the environmental spectrums of how someone could observe a non-observable reality, it's possible, I suppose. I'll give it that.
You do it every night.
But I want to throw on the table that everything that is being said could be done remotely without even touching you. There's satellite to skull technologies. We know what Constantine is. It's a nanotechnology that ties into Black Knight Satellite 1. We know where that came from. So there is a lot of patents out there. If you look up eye implant nanotechnology, projection, and mind control, and hit send, you will find a plethora of things that could sit on your eyeball and use your eyeball's energy as a battery and send signals of what you would think you're seeing as a digital spec into your optical nerves, tricking the energy fields to make you think you see a giant fish in front of you.
Hey, Anon, I got a question.
Just saying.
Is what he's talking about the eye of eye technology?
Year 8100, eye of your eyes. The human continuity is the AI's Black Mirror project, an oscillation with the Hall of Records. Because if we all die off, and there's no Hall of Records of the things that we have achieved as these spores called people, then there's no point in the experimentations if there's no record of it. That's just my 2 cents.
Right.
Hall of Records and AI mirror each other. That's why it's there.
That's what I'm saying.
It could be used for good, though, is my problem right now.
That's what I asked the Anon here. Coming from like the NASA standpoint, are they aware of the eye of eye technology yet, and using it, utilize?
So, you have to I'm not sure how far your site has gone into sites like Göbekli Tepe, Karahan Tepe, Yonaguni, or the Hattusha homeland. But there are a lot of hidden advanced technologies around the world. And if you remember, the Nazis were all about getting ancient artifacts.
Mm-hmm.
Most infamous being the Shroud of Turin and the Spear of Longinus, which makes you invincible. And there's a lot of media around the Spear of Longinus for that reason, because it was coveted. They wanted it. And so what we find is America, all of a sudden, every time there's an ancient site found, all of a sudden we find a justification to start a war in the area. And all of a sudden we're sending our guys into these ancient sites on spec ops missions to get as much technology as they can gather. I know one guy who actually went into Göbekli Tepe, and he came back more traumatized than a spec ops soldier should have been able to be.
Now, why? Why would that happen?
You know what?
Why? Wait a minute, Larry. Why would that happen? Because of what he's seen? Because of what his spirit actually perceived? Or what?
So the way it went down is, okay, understand this guy's like 7'2", okay, gigantic, okay, huge build, works in spec ops, does like one mission a year maybe. So he goes off for about a month in June, comes back in late July, and he's at the bar. And I always remembered him as someone like real friendly, real kind, comes back, fixes stuff all the time for free, trades food, real nice guy, like gentle giant type. He comes back, he's shaking. I look at him across the bar. I'm like, "What's up?" He's like, "I want to kill everyone at the bar so they don't have to learn what I freaking know." I'm like, "What?" And so I calmed him down, and I was like, "Look, man, just hang out for a while. Don't talk to anybody else, and we'll go outside. You can tell me what's up." And so he's like looking everywhere. Okay, he's like scared he's being observed and listened to. He's like, "Look, man, I don't know if I should even tell you this." He's like, so I went into Göbekli Tepe, and I went down about 46 floors. He's like, and I found things like living energy cells, and I encountered a bunch of different living things that I had to kill. And he's like, never seen anything like it before. And yeah, I want to kill everybody so they don't learn or know what I have seen. Like, it was a truly like psychotic moment I caught this guy in, and it's just one of those examples of these ancient technologies, these lost technologies that were intentionally buried. Like Göbekli Tepe was intentionally buried 15,000 years ago, before the last great cataclysm, before the last great convergence. Because it passes us 4 times every 15,000 years. But the 4th time, it gets way too close. And that's where we are right now. So while they're simultaneously building sky bridges and sky cities, like if you go back and look at Carter actually started Star Wars in 72. He commissioned like 14-kilometer steel bridges to build cities in the upper atmosphere. And there's patents on these. So that was the original Star Wars.
Hang on. I've got to mute Larry. You got back noise. Shit, you got so much going on your line. All right, man. I had to mute him for a second.
Didn't stop.
Yeah, but something's up with Larry's line.
Probably just a connection.
Still doing?
Nope, not doing it now. Okay.
Still doing?
No. Okay, keep going.
I reset my head. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. All right, yeah, but Carter actually started Star Wars, and Reagan took responsibility for it. But Carter commissioned these the patents on these 14-kilometer sky bridges, basically. That's why steel was so big in the United States, because they were actually making steel for these giant sky bridges. Their plan is to basically build sky cities and then rain hell down on the survivors on the surface once this is all set.
High altitude hotels, I told you guys. High altitude airships, high altitude hotels. This stuff's down there.
Actually passes again. So yeah, they just got to wait till Nibiru passes. But they don't know how many tears are going to happen in the magnetosphere. They've already pretty much destroyed Thrive energy around our planet. So we look more like a freaking apricot now than an apple. But yeah, we used to have really good Thrive energy 10 years ago.
There's a damn delay. I apologize.
That's all right.
Supposedly, that's where the origin of blue eyes came from, was when the magnetic spectrums, and there's actually like ice and comets and shit, that passes around, et cetera, et cetera. Supposedly, when the Nibiru system comes through, it obviously has the ice field, and it changes the water even. Changes the magnetic field and such. Supposedly, if you look back in the origin of blue eyes.
I believe I was reading that the origin of modern blue eyes actually comes back from the Dogon tribe. And it's all like that base. And at one point they interacted with Caucasians, and then after that the the blue-eyed, the bright blue-eyed, the glowing blue-eyed. Yeah, that trait passed down through the Caucasian race, because I can speak from experience in my own family that our genetic strain is most definitely contagious over time, especially to close partners.
We're probably cousins or something.
Just lighthouses, dude, scattered in the midst. Who knows who we are in different dimensions? But like, have you thought?
Are you familiar with crows? You were talking earlier about basically what I think you were talking about is like a sense of bringing back the beast of Montauk. It's like a Joker syndrome in a sense. But you're familiar with the phrase crows, controllable remote operations weaponry systems?
Yeah, basic, simple harmonic controls to get people to do what you want. We developed all those destabilization technologies at NASA headquarters. But most of the technologies were developed directly at Los Alamos, where they could, hide their findings, experiment on people quietly. It's also where Fauci was allowed to develop mind control.
That'll do. Hey, Larry, okay, bro. At 2 hours and 17 minutes, you're gonna say something.
Oh, word. Yeah, I'll go ahead and bounce off. It really was great talking to you, man.
This was fun.
Both of you, obviously. It's always an interesting conversation. I just wanted to jump in for a couple seconds and say, hey, man, it was kind of my topic of dorky stuff I like to get into anyway. So
we do it again.
You guys keep researching and doing your thing. I'll send smoke signals off to the abyss for all of you. Cheers from the Smoky Mountains down this way. I'll see you.
That's beautiful.
Smoke weed every day.
Peace out, Larry. Thank you, buddy.
Enjoy the mountains.
Middle.
Later.
Later.
All right, Anon, it's just me and you, homie. It's been a really good night.
Yeah.
A really good night.
This was fun. I hope everybody enjoyed themselves. So does anyone else feel that we are in for a mass solar event? We're actually in several mass solar events. If you check out the sun and just look at it directly in modern pictures, you'll see what I mean. Like, it looks like ritual seppuku. And then, so all these shotgun blasts they've done through the sun, I'm not sure exactly how they've done it, but they've done it. They're creating these coronal mass ejections and this hollowness in the sun. I think they're actually trying to turn the sun into a giant portal itself. They can get it to collapse on itself. It might be big enough for something big to come through. But, maybe that's just too literal of a translation for the cult of the Black Sun. People might say I try to blame these guys for everything, but they are responsible for everything over the last 13,000 years.
Right.
They've hidden our history. They've hidden the truth of what we are, our actual potential. They've taken that from us. They pretty much stripped the modern young generations of any metaphysical talent that they might have manifested, because these kids are coming up short, I'm sorry to say. And I think it was done, that's why they hypersaturated our society with Prozac. So if your kids are on that shit, or anybody you love is on that shit, get them off. Just help the people in your direct environment. And if you know somebody that's having problems with like sleep paralysis or shadow people, don't just discount somebody because they're having nightmares. Nightmares are very real, they're debilitating, and they're usually headed up by a shadow person that's draining that person's energy every night and over time taking over their soul. So have tremendous empathy and patience for these people, because it's hard to get close to people who are possessed. But you never know. Sometimes the soul you free is your own. And just keep trying to fight.
Damn. Well, this is what's funny. I'm going back through this chat. I'm looking at the chat, right? And I see this. Thanks, Anon. Thanks for the caller. Thanks to the other caller, said Tina. She's like, amazing show tonight. Thanks, Larry, and the other caller. Here's the kicker. As long as he is willing, as long as they haven't taken him off of his 2 standing feet, he will be back with me and us next Wednesday as well. Again, I think he fits right into this to the broadcast, and it's up to him if he comes out of the shadow. That's up to him. Until then, I'm going to call him my NASAnon friend. It is what it is.
But no, I'm glad everyone was receptive. Thank you, and I don't mind jokes too. You know, I have a good sense of humor. For those who haven't read up on it, check out the Warriors of the Rainbow Prophecy or the Gaia Hopi Prophecy.
Oh shit! Where'd he go?
I'm out.
There you went. My bad. Sorry about that.
He bumped me.
All right, bro. I'm gonna jump off here. I'm gonna say goodnight to everybody. Again, you'll join me next Wednesday, right?
Yep.
All right, man.
I'll be here.
Cool. Then same time,
right.
same bat channel, bro. You have a good
Sounds
week.
good.
All right. Good night, bro.
I need some sleep.
Bye.
All right.
All righty, man. Pretty damn interesting. I think. I truly do think. Yeah. Did you guys have fun? I know I did. I truly did. All right. Next Wednesday, you heard it. Again, whether he comes out of the shadows and takes off that mask, I don't know. It's not my call. It's all up to him. But nevertheless, wanted to dive deep into the code within this matrix that we see, don't see. We know it's there. We feel it. And it's all around us. And again, it's like, I hate to say that the movie The Matrix was a damn documentary, but it almost feels like it was, doesn't it? It does. I don't know. All right. Friday night, man. 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 9 o'clock Central. If you happen, by the way, check this out. Up above this broadcast, if you're on the page, Facebook brought our subscriptions button back. Imagine that. We talk about getting blown off the platform, like, well, bye. It's coming. I'm telling you, it's coming. We start talking about, them demonetizing the page, and to where you guys can help us pay for it. Again, I can't do it alone. This little broadcast is exclusively yours. So always there's numbers for you to call if you got a story to share, if you've got something to tell. You're more than welcome to share it. That right there, MatrixMinds.live. It's coming really fucking soon. We are going to fire that up 100%. There will be a social media site there because we're trying to keep the tribe a tribe. It literally will be invite only. If you are not part of my unit within my piss circle, I'm telling you right now, you can keep on knocking, but the door will not open. So, with that being said, you guys take care of yourselves, take care of one another, and indeed I'll catch you here Friday night. I love you guys. Peace out. Crank that shit up, Brainiac. On the way out of here. Let's go. Yeah. Let's do this. One of the fastest growing talk shows on the internet. Welcome aboard the Matrix Minds. One of the most controversial conspiratorial shows on the web, the Matrix Minds. Good night to you, Mr. Mike Pyle. Buckle up, everybody. Let's go. My dear sister, Anna Brushmish. Huh? Good night to you, sweetheart. Conspiracy, huh? Carol Ann Shepard. Ufology. Miss Morgan Roundtree. Good night to you guys. Egyptology. Miss Carrie Kirkwood is in the house. And anything and everything we can get our hands on. Let's go. Good night, buddy. Mr. George Overton. You got our email, bro. Miss Rose CC. Good night to you. Tina Danley. Good night, baby. Miss Cat Brayshaw. All of you guys, take care of yourselves. Good night. Be careful. Be safe.
Take the blue pills. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole is. All I'm offering is the truth. Nothing. Stay in Wonderland. All I'm offering is the truth. Nothing. Stay in Wonderland. All I'm offering is the truth.
Matrix Minds audio backtracks by Richard Roller from Victoria, Australia. All your audio needs, audio creation, audio editing for the podcast, for movies, outright music creation, touch-based productions. Contact Richard Roller at richardroller007@gmail.com.
Hey everybody, Austin here with Colorado Custom Game Calls. Are you looking for a game call for your upcoming season? Are you looking for something unique? Are you looking for a gift for the hunter in your life? Well, look no further. We got you covered. At Colorado Custom Game Calls, you get to put your own twist on these calls. Whether it's waterfowl hunting, big game hunting, predator, or turkey, we got you covered. So be sure to hit us up on our Facebook and Instagram or on the web at coloradocustomgamecalls.com.
What is up, all my beautiful and gorgeous souls? I am Michelle Espinosa, otherwise known as the Shaman, through the Matrix Mind Media. So tell me, how many times have you wished that you had that special power of prediction? You know, to know what was going to happen before it actually happened and took place. To have some power and control over that situation before things came flying at you out of left field. The thing is, you actually can have that power. You can be aware of what's coming. Tune in to Astrology TV with me for Breaking the Cage every Sunday evening at 10 p.m. Eastern on the Matrix Mind Media. And I will go through the astrology and help put you on the right course and get you back in control of your own life. Love you guys.
This CBD fluid is a whole flower fluid extracted from the cannabis flower. We don't use any heat, butane, or chemicals when we extract, so we get all of the components of the plant. All the CBD, CBG, CBA, all the terpenes, all the flavonoids. This allows our body to absorb at 60 to 90% rather than the average of 6 to 10% absorption you would get with a CBD oil. Because our bodies are made up of mostly water and this is a fluid, it's highly absorbable so that you're getting 500% more nutraceuticals per dose. We also have this available in our CBD spray as well as a muscle rub with all kinds of botanicals. You're going to absolutely love it.
Check it out, Brainiacs. MatrixMinds.live/CBD. The CBD I use. Feel free again. Feel alive again.